Roadside here saying, how you going? How you going? Listen, this is driving home with me. Oh, we're driving home with Roger. Yeah, we're driving home with me. Except tonight, we're not actually driving home tonight. We're going to catch up with a couple of people down at a cool little place quite local to me, so you'll be coming with me to that, really. But how's your day been? You been all right? Old Roger has had a good day. Frustrating day, but a bloody good day. Seems like time is evaporating quicker than steam off a kettle. That's where I don't know if you ever just get those moments where you feel like you're taking 47 steps forward, but you're taking 48 steps back. 2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back. We go together 'cause opposites attract. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling at the moment. Hello, Voltsy! Voltsy, I can't let you go. How you doing, Voltsy? You well? You're the only one in the cinema room at the moment, so effectively we're just having a two-way call, really. I was just saying before, Voltsy, that I'm off to catch up with a few of my associates at a different place, so not exactly heading home, but it's sort of that. And look, it's just an excuse to tune in and say, hey go. That's the White Webs Transport Museum. For anyone who cares about that, it's a museum about trains, I believe. I've not been in it, but that's what it is. This is White Webs Park, so this is we're on the outskirts of White Webs Park. And White Webs, there's a bit of controversy going on with White Webs Park because Tottenham Hotspur's training ground is very nearby here, and I've driven past it a couple of times. And Tottenham are trying to buy out a bit of White Webs Park, which is like a natural reserve. And so there was a whole rigmarole about, taking part of some of the environment that shouldn't be sold to Tottenham, but at the moment it doesn't look like it's been done. So it's a little win for the naturists. I think this is Tottenham's. I think they're on the left. I don't know. They're somewhere around here, but yeah. Your mate supports Tottenham. Oh, look, I'm sure Tottenham probably aren't doing it on purpose, or it's just they need more grounds to develop training pitches and stuff like that. White Webs is a big open air. I say open air as if like there's parks that are closed there. Is a big open space, and they're well within their rights to give it a crack. But I think this is it. You might see the floodlights there. Yeah, that's the Tottenham training ground just there. You might have caught the floodlights just then. So you can see that their training pitches back right onto White Webs Park, which is a big old bit of grassland and stuff. All of this fenced off part here, you can see here, this is Tottenham's training ground there. That's the entrance. Yeah, that's the entrance. There you go, mate. So you can tell your mate, Voltsy, you saw where Tottenham train. I mean, they're obviously not doing much training at the moment because they're terrible. I think they're just at home playing FIFA on the PlayStation. Too much of that going on rather than actually out there training. But yeah, that's a little bit of news about the situation. I was saying before to Voltsy, my good mate Voltsy, I think this is another entrance here. Maybe this is the player entrance. Look at that. Bloody hell, Hotspur Way. Yeah, that's the player entrance for sure. Yeah, there's the people with the bloody boom gates. He doesn't play for Tottenham. He's just walking around with his shopping. I was saying to Voltsy before that I've had one of those days where I feel like every time I feel like I've gotten on top of things, I have, two other things have come up. So I deal a lot with customers. I deal a lot with building relationships and whatnot. And there was a couple of people I met today who just had, they were lovely people, but they just had inquiry after inquiry after inquiry. And what should be just a 5 or 10 minute follow-up is now going to be a 30 to 40 minute follow-up, which means if I'm doing that 4 or 5 times, that's about 2 hours of extra work, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, which I didn't account for. But that is life. That is life. Chebez 16. Hello. How are you? Voltsy's come back with, he also has a signed Harry Kane shirt. Well, bloody fair play to him. Listen, Harry Kane, the thing about Tottenham is this, right? Tottenham have a history of selling iconic players and not replacing them whatsoever. When they had Bale galloping around on the wings, and when they sold him for a pretty penny, and they got back about 5 or 6 fringe players, it was just a terrible decision. And look, I'm not no football aficionado, but it just didn't seem like they were too fussed about going out and getting a like-for-like replacement, or getting at least 2 very good players, rather than just getting, a handful of okay players. They did the same, when Harry Kane left, who did they replace him with? No one. So, they can't really say much, as in, the club can't really say much. I feel bad for the fans, because it's obviously not the fans' fault. They've got no control over the situation, but it is what it is. Hello to Emiga. Hello, Emiga. Harry Kane is really good at Bayern. He is Voltsy. Harry Kane is doing very well at Bayern, and I think it just goes to show. I love it when people just park on the side of a single lane road. It's always good, just around a bend. Yeah, look, Harry Kane is a legend, and I think he's shown that by being able to do really well at not just one club, but 2, really. Voltsy, I can't let you go. All right, where should we go? Where we have at least we have a bit of scenery. Because I'm going to, I'm meeting my some mates here about. I don't really want to just park up where there's just schoolgirls. That would be a bit wrong. But you can see a few dogs in the distance there. There's a couple of puppies, hey? Don't say I don't take yous anywhere. Bloody hell, we've just gone on a romantic date to the park. But yeah, I'm going to be set up here for a little bit until a few mates come. Which means that I actually have a bit of time to actually read what the hell is going on. Hello, Emiga. We've said that already. Harry Kane is really good at Bayern. Yes, right now. Until he even scored from the halfway point. Wow, I reckon I could score from the halfway line. I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but I reckon I could. Voltsy's got a dog. He's a German Shepherd. Bloody German Shepherds are legends. I used to have a couple of Border Collies, and my Border Collies were so smart. One of them was a bit fatter than the other, which I never quite worked out why, because I always fed them the same. They had, I couldn't work out why, but Cajun used to be the skinnier one, and Jess used to be the fatter one. And I used to play, throw, just throw the ball in the backyard. And because Cajun was the faster one, she would invariably be the one that would always get to the tennis ball first and return it. And she was very smart. If she didn't return it, right back to my feet, I could always say no, closer. And she'd pick it up and she'd nuzzle it forward a little bit. And She was also smart enough for me to say, Cajun, leave this one for Jess. And I'd throw the ball and she would just stay there and let Jess toddle off after it and, trundle back. And eventually Jess would come back and she would drop back the ball. So I've got a lot of time for dogs in general, but I've also got a lot of time for border collies because I think they're quite smart. But German Shepherds are quite smart as well, aren't they? Bloody hell, German Shepherds. There's a reason why they make it good, police dogs and stuff like that, because they obviously know how to take instructions. Barry Smith says HK should have been paid more. Harry Kane should have been paid more to keep him at Tottenham. Levy lost it, so have the Lewis. Look, I don't disagree with you, Barry. I think I'm going to have to pause it here because just having a call come through. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes or so, ladies and gentlemen.